रिपीट करू
ना आई बोलावगी नहीं कस काय समजले तुम्ही काय मग टाकी दिला त्याच्यात
पहिलं तर तुम्ही आज
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Aftab Mandal and in this video I'm going to talk about hierarchy of exception handling. So exception handling is a mechanism in which we can handle runtime errors or more exceptional cases in more graceful way that our code execute in smooth manner. And we make sure by using exception handling we make sure that our code does not terminate in between. So just by using try catch blocks wherever we are worry about that this code will go out of our as intended, so we can surround that code with the help of try catch blocks. By just doing that we make sure that our code does not terminate unintentionally. So this exception handling is a very powerful mechanism and one of the most important feature of Java. So in this video we will see why understanding hierarchy of exception handling is important. So as we are talking about hierarchy, so in top of that we have throwable class. So and this throwable class have two main subclasses, that is errors and exception. Now if you talk about errors, these are much serious problems which cannot be handled with the help of code. So and one must not even try to handle errors with the help of code. So we just need to report that to the user or system administrator. Some examples of errors are like memory out of memory, or we have stack overflow errors. So this can't be handled with the help of code and are much serious problems. But if we talk about exceptions, so these exceptions are only good thing about exceptions are that they can be handled. So if our code or program throws an exception, we can handle that code in a more general way or as per our need. So if we're talking about hierarchy of exception, we have checked exceptions and unchecked exceptions, in which we have many exceptions like SQL exception, or we have IO exception, we have file not found exceptions. So these exceptions occur if, let's say, if SQL exception occurs, so it means that there is a problem while handling the SQL database query. Or if our code executes IO exception, it means that file has an input-output error. So these are the errors which we can handle by using these exception handlings. Apart from that, we have runtime exception handlings, in which we have array index out of bound exception, we have arithmetic exception, and many exceptions that goes on. So these exception occurs because of programming errors, like if arithmetic exception occurs because if we divide a number by 0, then this exception might occur. Or if we try to access an array which is out of bound, then array out of bound exception may occur. So these are the types of exception, and this is the hierarchy of exception handling. Apart from this, we have custom exceptions, in which a programmer can build its own exception which can handle a problem in more specific way or more particular way. So the developer just need to create a new class which extends either exception class or runtime exception class, and then he needs to pass the string arguments and a constructor which calls super constructor of that particular exception. By this we can handle exceptions in our own way, which can be more maintainable, which makes our code more maintainable and readable. So that was all about exception handling. Now if we talk about why understanding this hierarchy is important. So suppose if our program throws a null pointer exception, but we try to catch the general exception, so this might lead to an unintentional execution of our program. So let's say so the code wanted to catch the null pointer exception, but we provided the general exception, so that might be a problem. So it is always a good practice to handle that particular exception which is required. In this way we can execute our code in more proper way and provide a better message to the user on where the exception has occurred. So That's why understanding hierarchy of exception is very important. So that was all from my side. I hope you learned something new in this video. My name is Aftab Mandal and I wish you a very happy Holi. Stay safe and until then, goodbye.